Buenos dias, señores y caballeros. I hope you're well. I have a request here from Klekowierzadzenia. I did my best. I believe he or she is Polish. And the question is, could you compare the MD431 Mark II with the M88? And he asks, or she asks, which is better for speaking in the studio? Now I'm curious because I haven't checked, but I think both of these are over £400 dynamics. And this is a recreation of the Mark I, which I think, is it 70s, 80s maybe? I've seen it on some 80s videos, a silver one. And this is a current 2023 recreation of the M88 from 63, 62, 63. So both of them are being revisited. Both of them, I guess, top of the range dynamics. Now I'm curious because why would you want to use either of these for speaking in the studio? I'm not sure what he or she means. I assume it's not as a talkback mic. I mean, I suppose if you're a millionaire and you wanted a really tough dynamic for talkback in the studio, then, but seems a bit of a waste to me. So I'm guessing then it would be for recording spoken voice, maybe voiceovers. And led me to think, well, what would I want for spoken voice? Often for spoken voice, people would use the Shure SM7B? The big one. It has its comfortable thing, but I wouldn't use it. Why doesn't he want to use a condenser at this kind of price? I mean, we're not far away from KSM 105. Was it KMS? KMS 105. Or its variants. Whatever, you're not far away from good condensers. So why the dynamic? I don't know. Anyway, I have his request, so let me just crack on with it. Just listen to the two. I'm going to do this usual thing if I can. Going from the SV33. Now I'm on the M88. And I notice immediately the So I know it's got that slightly broad peak at the top there, and we all know, well, maybe you don't, but if you bring it closer, even, from there, you can hear the low end is there. Bring it closer, and the low end is can get quite extreme. So if you're doing voiceovers, then maybe that might be quite useful if you've got a lowish voice. If not, then, mind you, this does go up quite high, which we'll demonstrate in a second. That slight starts quite high. Moving on to the Sennheiser. This is a Sennheiser. What do I notice there? I notice that, and with the Sennheiser, there is a low end, but I notice a bit of a which on my voice I think is a bit too high. It reminds me a little bit of the Neumann KMS 105, though I prefer the low end on this to that, because I think that one's hump is even higher still, and it's not a good place in my voice. Well, what do you think? Here I am speaking in the studio, about this distance for the minute, on the Sennheiser. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note, moving to the M88. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note, wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up. M88, Sennheiser. Wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up. That t is softer. Wrapped up. And the So to me, a little bit SM7. I wish I could have got the name right. That, the big, sure. Is it the SM7B? So a little bit of that, I think. Comfortable sounding. A little bit of that underneath, but a bit soggy for my voice. And there's there. Not all that detailed to my ears. Detailed, detailed, detailed. Moving to the buyer. Detailed, detailed, detailed. Now we have to be careful because this has got a hump, a push at the top. This has got a broad push at the top, so it could be that push rather than detail. Try the 33. Detail, 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 ta, ta, ta. 33, ta, ta, ta. M88, ta, 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 huh, ta, ta, ta. And Sennheiser, ta, 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 ta. Between the Sennheiser and the 33, Sennheiser, ta, 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 ta. Immediately with the 33, I hear kind of openness. Sennheiser. Beyer. To my ears, the Beyerdynamic, it has got that edge there, is more open. I think it's faster. It's not as soggy. I'm not going to say, but see what you think. Going to move these two further away because I'll bring them closer first. I don't know what you're doing in the studio speaking, so if it's kind of voiceover stuff, you might need it doing something like there. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note. Sennheiser. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. I like the upper parts. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note. But for me, as I say, my voice does a bit of that. It seems to be clouding the issue a bit, really. Further away, the Sennheiser. I'm going to put the volume up on the desk here so you might get a bit of hiss. The owl and the pussycat went to sea, you can hear the room, in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note. Beyer. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a £5 note. That's more accentuated, isn't it, than the Sennheiser. And the I think it's quite nice on my voice anyway, the wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up. That was the M88 Sennheiser. Wrapped up, wrapped up. It's a little bit more contained. Maybe you like that, depends on your voice as well. 33. Wrapped up, wrapped up, wrapped up. So that's, to me, as near as you can get to how it is, though I can never hear my own voice with my own ears. Wrapped up, wrapped up. So, back on the bar, I'm going to bring them back down to, I'm going to hold it at this kind of distance and bring them back down. So maybe you find that the Beyerdynamic has got a little bit too much of this. So I'm just going to cut 100 hertz. I'm going to cut 100 hertz on the Beyer and on the Sennheiser, in case you don't want that low end and you need it fairly close and you haven't got a low voice, so you don't really need it in there for handling noise and stuff. So this is the Beyerdynamic. Is it really? Yeah, it is. This is the Beyerdynamic with the 100 hertz cut. So we're hearing mostly the low, mid and the upper. This is the Beyerdynamic with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Beyerdynamic with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Sennheiser with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Sennheiser. I want to bring it closer all the time. Let me up the gain a bit on the Sennheiser. This is the Sennheiser with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Sennheiser with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Beyerdynamic with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Beyerdynamic with a 100 hertz cut. This is the Beyerdynamic full on. This is the Beyerdynamic full on. This is the Sennheiser full on. This is the Sennheiser full on. Well, whilst I'm doing it, nearly done. What about, I'm on the Beyer. What about if I didn't like that so much? I'm going to boost the mid on this desk is 2.3 or something like that. With obviously a curve. So yeah, I think yes, that's kind of around the area which that peak is coming through to my ears. So back to neutral. Dropping it. There. Okay. But then maybe you've got a bit more of the exposed. Bring it back just a tiny bit. What about there? What about there? Depending on where you are, of course, with these instruments, you need to be able to use them a bit. So maybe there. That's with a tiny bit off at 2 point something. You're going to put it back to flat. Maybe there. Sennheiser. Sennheiser. Listening to those parts there, I listen to one part at a time, because now I'm listening to the s, but Sennheiser. Sennheiser. Beyer. I think it's more open, could be the boost, but I think it's more open. And finally the Beyerdynamic. Beyerdynamic. Sennheiser. To me, there's a was that me with my tongue changing it? So there's a little sizzle to my ears higher up on the Sennheiser. I haven't looked at the graph, forgive me, but here's my suspicion. I know that the Beyerdynamic, let me do it the right way around, we'll do it the wrong way around for you guys looking, that as we go up, the Beyerdynamics fairly early on has a kind of a plateau rise. I'm suspecting that the Sennheiser has a rise, I'm sure it has, and that it might have a little bit of a peak higher up that sticks through that doesn't occur. So you'll have to look at the charts. Maybe I'll do it before I put a note. I'll do it before I edit the video. Going back to the SV33, we hear a little bit of hiss, as we did on the thing before between condensers and dynamics. Beyer. Again, a little bit lower maybe, that something in the pitch changes. Could be me, my mouth, me changing things. Sennheiser. Let me really accentuate that top for sibilance place. Sennheiser. Sennheiser. Not Sennheiser, it's lower. Not Sennheiser, the Beyer. Oh, that's got some real, goes higher. You would expect. I don't know. So there we are. For voice in the studio, you make your own mind up. I'm still curious, or put in the comment if you're, I forget your name, sorry if you haven't been offended by my getting your name wrong. Kleka Zadzenia. Let me know what it is you have in mind. I mean, it might be the translation, of course, because from Polish to English maybe didn't quite, wasn't quite clear to me what you're after. Personally, I'm thinking if you're in a studio, I would go for a condenser. Having said that, I don't know which one I would. Well, I know which one I would actually. There are loads of them, and I haven't tried anywhere near all of them. So just out of the ones I've got, I'd have the Earthworks SR314, even though it's got a bit of that lift in there. It's very gentle, and you could get rid of it if you wanted, but I don't think it's a problem. I was doing some what they call self-tapes. I don't know why I call them tapes. Even in this tape, it's quite cute, quaint in there. Doing some self-tapes for a voiceover. And because I've got this out here now, I thought, shall I put this back in the hood thing that I use, isolator? But I used the Ethos, and I was quite happy with it. So in the studio, I might use that. I think the Ethos, I don't know what the price is. It's come down over the few years, so I'm thinking it's not too far away from these £400 plus dynamics. But I don't know why you were considering these two. But anyway, I hope I've given you some idea of the possibilities and the capabilities. Anyway, see you all next time.